here, and I'm back with another video. So if this is your first time on the channel, I just would like to say welcome and thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, feel free to hit that subscribe button and be sure to click that bell, that way you never miss an upload from me. And if you're an OG that's been here for a minute, thank you so much for coming back. So we are here with part 2 of the Mediterranean Mansion, aka the Carmichael Estate. If you haven't seen part 1 already, I will be sure to put a card on the screen and the link down in the description box below so you can catch up. But if you've already seen part 1, just continue watching. So in this part, I definitely wanted to focus on getting most of the furniture laid out, really designating zones, which are going to be living spaces, sleeping spaces, dining spaces, and things like that. The aesthetic that I was going for as far as the furniture was very luxurious. I used a lot of rich wood tones and also a lot of plush furniture. I also wanted to convey the sense of comfort, so there is plenty of space for your Sims to sit here. And I just feel like I tried my best to make the most out of these large spaces. Sometimes it's harder to build in a larger space because you get so wrapped up in the sheer size of a build, you don't know exactly how to furniture it or how to orient things to where things make sense. But what I try to do is envision a family to live in this larger home. That way I can kind of get into their head and decorate the way that they would decorate, or have things set up the way that works best for their particular lifestyle. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. We are currently in the living room, and in this space on the main floor, it's very grand. I wanted to have all of those ornate features on display, and I definitely wanted to convey a sense of grandeur. As you can see underneath the couches, I was adding in some carpet because I couldn't quite find the right area rug, and I'm out here by, I guess you could say, our sunroom. I'm adding in some greenery, and this is going to be a space where we put the dog. So this family does have a dog, and it is a Bichon Frise, and it's super duper cute, so fun, so loyal, so playful, and I just love that dog. Anyway, back into the build. I'm going through my decor items, and I'm trying to find a bunch of different items to go on the wall and on the table to really showcase this family's lifestyle, actually give them a bit of personality. Some of the things that I'm adding in right now are just some items for the dog, so that leash kind of corral right there. I also added a dog bed and some more essentials like the toy chest and some dog treats and things like that, just to make the place feel a bit more full. So one thing that I kind of have a gripe with is something can work perfectly fine on a normal angle, and then when you put it on a diagonal, it looks weird. So in this particular case, it is these curtains. I had a little bit of a struggle figuring out which ones to use, but I do eventually settle on those kind of sheer ones that came with the Island Living Pack. And now what I'm doing is filling up the space besides those base seats to make it feel more like a built-in. So I was cycling through my items to see what could fit in that angle without cutting into the couch, and I ultimately decided on using these triangle end piece from some of the cabinets, or some of the counters. Yeah, these are counters, and these came with base game, and I decided to use them because they do have that triangular option, and I just wanted to make that transition a bit smoother. Also provide more spaces in this area to add some decor like flowers or photos, or just really anything just to make the space feel a bit more like home. And I added in that octagonal table from the base game pack, if I'm not mistaken. I can't quite remember if I keep that table or not, but we'll see eventually, right? Anyway, I made it outside, and I'm utilizing the same fireplace that we used on the inside from the Jungle Adventure pack, and I'm just adding in some rugs in between the indoor and outdoor space. There's a little hallway. I can't even really call it a hallway. I guess you would call it kind of like a foyer. But not really. It's just kind of like a divider in between the indoor and outdoor space, and I just really wanted to show off those beautiful arches. I feel like it's key to the character of this home. It's not exactly Mediterranean, but I like the marble finish, and I just feel like it adds to the overall quality of these finishes. And I'm adding in these little gargoyles now from the Vampire Stuff pack. They are kind of creepy, but at the same time, they're pretty cool. And I feel like maybe the dad in this household might be into those because they look fancy. I don't know. Who knows? Now I'm also adding in some more wall pieces from the Vampires pack. This is, I believe it's a light, and it's also a little fountain. So I felt like it was most appropriate next to the pool. Even though it's not necessarily Mediterranean, I think that's more like a Venetian style, but you know, I think it works. I would imagine this family to collect different items from around the world and add them to their overall home collection, and that just adds to the overall culture of it, in my opinion. I would imagine that this family travels a lot and likes to import items or just bring items back with them when they travel. Now I'm adding in some lighting. I'm trying to do this as realistically as possible so the house isn't overly lit, but at nighttime your Sims can still get around and see what they are doing. So that's what I'm working on now. And I'm adding in some of these little, they're actually floor lights, but I like to add them around just some areas that may be tight and just need a little bit of light, but not a whole lot. I'm working on the front area now. I do eventually change this, but I don't quite get into it in this video. That'll be in the next video, but I was just adding some lighting out there. And now we finally made it into the basement. So contrast to the main floor, the basement is going to be a bit more laid back, kind of more of like a fun area, more like a recreational area. What's going to be down here are going to be like some games for the family to play, or if they have guests over, just something that they can do for recreation. There's also going to be a media room, the butler's wing, the dad's study, and some more things that we'll get into in the third video, but I'll go ahead and tell you what they are now. It's going to also be a home spa and a home gym, so get ready for that. Back on the main floor, we are in the dining room, and I wanted to maximize the amount of Sims that I can have dine here, but I also wanted to use that hutch from the Jungle Adventure pack, but I did have to take it out. It was just too big, and I prioritized the amount of people here because I imagine that this family, they're very affluent. They would probably like to have dinner parties or maybe host their neighbors, or even if they had like some sort of business deal, they would probably invite those prospective clients over for dinner and host them and just make a good impression that way. So I definitely wanted to make sure there was enough space to accommodate those extra people. And at this point, I'm just sorting through some of the fixtures, some of the things to keep the house safe. So I'm going through the sprinkler system and fire alarms, and I'm also adding in the thermostat so there can be some temperature control. Definitely needed in a high-class home like this, if I do say so myself. And I'm searching through some pictures to see which one I'm going to use in the dining room, and I think I settled on the really expensive piece that came with base game that I think is like maybe 10,000 simoleons. I could be wrong. It could be 1,000, but I know it's a lot of zeros behind that, okay? Anyway, I think we are about to move on to the office soon. I'm just choosing a rug in front of the main door, and I'm adding in a window. So when you walk up to the front of the house, you can take a little bit of a peek into our sunroom area, and it just pulls you in, and it makes you want to see more of what's on the inside. It looks like we're in the kitchen right now, and I started off with this checkered flooring. I do change it, don't worry. I really wanted to use that checkered flooring, but it just didn't make sense in this home, so I do change it for some wood. And initially I wanted there to be like a breakfast nook in the kitchen, but there just really wasn't enough space. There really wasn't enough space, and I prioritized having a butler's pantry, but butler's kitchen in the kitchen. So yeah, I didn't have my breakfast nook, but to kind of make up for that, I do have this huge area in the center where your Sims can come and have breakfast, or people can socialize in the kitchen and gather around the counter, maybe have a glass of juice, or a cup of coffee, whatever floats your boat. So in the kitchen, I am just setting up this back wall. So on this back wall is where we're going to have our stoves. We have 2 stoves. Why? Because they can afford it. That's the only reason. And I just feel like it adds a sense of, I don't know, just something expensive. Like it adds a sense of grandeur to me having 2 stoves. Like, why would you need 2 stoves? I don't know. Maybe you can cook a grand meal in one and make the dessert in another. I don't know, but I like the way it looks. And for the counter space where the people would kind of sit and gather around, I went with green. I don't know, I was really feeling green and I felt like it was something different, so I definitely wanted to use the green countertops in that space. And I sized up that vent hood just so we can cover up both of the stoves. I really didn't like the idea of 2 vent hoods. It just didn't make sense to me. And I'm also using those parenthood cabinets above the stove, and I'm smushing everything together. I do eventually change the kitchen layout just a little bit, but this is pretty much what we settle on. In this far corner towards the window, this is where our coffee bar is going to be set up. This family loves their coffee, you know. They do a lot of traveling, they have a lot of business dealings, so they need their energy to just be able to do their presentations and make their conference calls and things like that. So I have the Grind-O-Matic, and I also put in the espresso machine. Both of those 2 items are from the Get Together pack. And I also have a little bowl of fruit, a bread keeper, and this little area where the teas and coffees are. I decided to put that on the wall. I just wanted to utilize some of that wall space. And I'm adding in the mugs because, like I said, these are coffee people, so they would love to have their cute little mugs and make them happy in the morning. Now I'm changing up the wall coverings in the kitchen. So behind the stoves, I have this shiny brick that came with base game, and around the rest of the kitchen I have this stone paver covering that also came with the base game. And as you just saw, I'm adding in that pet bowl and some wall coverings just to make the kitchen feel a bit more homey, and again to make it work for what this family would use. So yes, in my head, the mom, she would have like this really well-known floral business. So you would notice around the house there will be a lot of flowers. She thinks flowers are beautiful, and there's a single rose. And the dad, knowing that he's the type that will just give the mom a single rose every now and again just to show that he loves her and he's thinking about her. So that's something that I wanted to incorporate. I love the mom and dad. Like, although they are an older couple, they're like adults, so they're not like elders, so they are adults and they're about to be empty nesters. They still have that young love to them, and I really love that about that couple. Now we're in the mom's office. So again, like I said, she has a floral business, so it's very dainty and delicate in here. She loves the color combination of white and gold together. She just thinks that it's very elegant and very feminine and very high class, and she loves her tufted furniture. So I use a lot of items from the Get Famous pack in here. If you don't have a Get Famous pack, I recommend the Vintage Glamour Stuff pack. They have a similar aesthetic as far as like their more elegant pieces, the more tufted pieces with the golds and the whites and the pinks and things like that. So if you don't have Get Famous, the Vintage Glamour Stuff pack is an alternative if you want the look and feel with a lot of those items. And I'm adding in some of those file cabinets from the Get to Work pack just so she can have a place to organize her papers, keep her receipts, access her files, and things like that. And I have these 2 love seats in here, so if she was to have a client over or if she wanted to talk to some of her friends, they would have a nice, just real fancy chill spot to do so. Very comfortable, very feminine. I'm here for it. It's not my particular taste, but for the mom here, she would love it, and I hope you guys like it too. And I also put in a mini fridge. You know, maybe the mom, she's working from home and have like a long day. Maybe she wants to get a wine cooler, or maybe she wants to, you know, just have a little snack. So I gave her her own mini fridge, and it also works as a surface. So in the corner, I put the little champagne bottle on it, and I just felt like that was just so her. And I just really love this room. I also use that rug from the Vintage Glamour Stuff pack underneath the couches. This mom is also into health and wellness and just being zen. So you will notice that I add in the little piece where you would comb out the grains of sand. It's actually very, very relaxing. My mom had one of those things some years ago, and from time to time I will comb out the grains of sand, and it was really relaxing. I also have a scroll with a cherry blossom tree behind her desk, and it'll probably have like some sort of calming and relaxing message just so she can be in the right mind frame to really just kill it in the floral business. And I have this little drink tray from the Luxury Party Stuff pack, if I'm not mistaken, or actually that one may be from Spa Day. And I'm adding in these 2 chairs from the Get Famous pack. So again, when she has her clients over and they need to discuss business, they can do it at her desk. I'm adding in some more little knickknacks like her business card, some flowers, some office supplies like scissors and pens. And I also like this real fancy pen with the little feather on it. I just think that's a nice touch. It would definitely be for decoration. Now we're outside by the pool area, and I'm adding in some lights here so your Sims will be able to see at night and feel safe swimming at nighttime. And I'm just using these little floor lights, and I also use a couple of lights inside of the pool just to really illuminate the place. And I added in this jumping rock from the Get to Work pack, and I don't know, I just feel like it really goes well with the kind of rock pavers that's on the ground. I try to keep it within the same aesthetic, even though one item is from Get Together and the flooring is from Vintage Glamour pack. No, actually it's from the Vampires pack. I'm sorry, I'm getting my V's confused. And I'm adding in this open shower from the Discover University pack. I really like that shower. The only thing that I'm kind of worried about is that Sims won't use that as an outdoor shower. They will probably get naked in shower, so ooh, be careful with that. And now I'm adding in some towels and a laundry basket and a little cart, so you know, when your Sims get out the pool, they can towel off and they will just have a place to put their wet towels until it's time for the laundry to be done. But yes, I really love this area. Like, I can just imagine the Sims out here chilling by the pool, maybe having a pool party. I do add in a outdoor speaker, so this will definitely be the party place for sure. And as you notice, I added in some of the spraying jets underneath the jumping rock as well. We're back on the inside, and I was just going through hutches and seeing which hutch that we were going to use. I wanted to use it in the dining room, but I just didn't have a whole lot of space. And now I'm adding in that piano, so maybe the Sims will hire a Sim to play piano for them, maybe at a dinner party, or maybe there's a Sim within this family that has that talent. You never know. Also, we are back upstairs. We are in the daughter's room. So the daughter, she is a young adult, and in my head, she just finished high school, so this room is very much the teenage aesthetic. However, it's kind of in between being a child and being an adult. It's just kind of like that awkward time where you have some things that are kind of kiddie, but you do have some things that are a little bit more grown up, and I really love how this came out. Some items that I definitely knew I wanted to include was just like this open closet from the Get Famous pack. Also, that clothing rack from the Moschino Stuff pack, I put that in her closet. I feel like she would like to have her clothes on display. I would think that this Sim is very fashionable, and she's always had access to kind of like the finer things in life, so like the name brand clothes and the name brand shoes and just the beautiful big LED mirrors. So that's definitely the look and feel that I wanted to go in with here. I want it to be very feminine, but also kind of like, I don't know, kind of like academically driven. Like, I think that this Sim would be very goal oriented. So as you can see on the wall, she does have her little bulletin board where she can put her events, and she has her expo markers so she can like plan out her month. And like I said, it is kind of like in between that kid and adult stage. So she does have a couple of teddy bears. I would imagine she might have gotten these as a little girl and she just hung on to them. And I have her backpack in there. But she also has things like a vanity so she can sit down and do her hair and her makeup and, you know, just really freshen up and get her day off to the right start. And she also has a television and a laptop in here, so I would imagine that she would spend a good deal of time in her room, and when she had friends over, she had plenty of things for them to do as well. But anyway, you guys, I am going to hop off here. If you made it this far in the video and haven't done so already, feel free to subscribe, and also be sure to click that bell, that way you never miss an upload from me. And please don't forget to like, comment, and share this video. It helps me and the channel out more than you know. If you're interested in anything in my personal life, or just want to see some of my thumbnails outside of YouTube, feel free to follow me on my social medias, which I'll always link down in the description box below. And this build is not quite available on the gallery yet. I'm not sure when I will be sharing it, but feel free to check out anything else that I've created on the Sims 4 gallery. My origin ID is Simply-Nisey. Again, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your comments, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Bye, guys.